Are you separating from the Air Force? You better get information. So if you're thinking about separating from the Air Force, there's a few things that you need to know. So make sure you get information before you fall out. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kim Ray, and you're watching Kim Ray Music TV, and I'm back with another video for this Air Force series as I quickly, slowly transition up out of here. All right, so when you're separating from the Air Force, this means that you're a year or less from your DOS or your date of separation. There's a whole plethora of things that you need to know, and a lot of it can seem confusing. A lot of it seems self-explanatory, but then when you get in the meat of it, in the thick of it, it's a whole lot of moving parts and not really much guidance on how to do it for your personalized situation. So I wanted to come on here and drop some knowledge on y'all just based off my own experience. You can do it however you want to do it, as long as you're following, you know, your checklist. But this is what I suggest so that you have a little ease, okay? Because it gets hectic. All right, so the very first thing you're gonna get is called a pre-separation brief. This is for the Air Force only. I don't know about any other branches, all right? You're gonna sit through a briefing where you're learning about what you're about to do, the severity of it, and the steps that you need to take in the very near future to be successful. All right, I suggest when you're in that briefing, you're taking notes, you're finding out exactly what you need to do because it's about to get real. All right, it's about to get real. And usually I say go to this before you've applied for separation because you want to make sure, you know, you really want to do this. Get as informed as you can before you do it. But if you already know, apply for separation through your virtual MPF tool. Apply for separation because, you know, the commander has to see it. People have to approve you separating before you are actually able to separate. I know, crazy, right? So you apply for it, commander approves it. It goes up to AFPC, the gods at AFPC, it gets approved. Now you have an approved separation date. This is not orders, you just have an approved separation date. So you're gonna go to your pre-sep brief. You're also gonna see a separation briefing in your virtual or through MyPers. It's gonna be a series of things about 12 pages long about what you should do and how your next 12 months is about to go. All right, so TAPS. TAPS is the transitional program that you go through where you're dressed in business casual or business attire and you're learning all you need to know for when you get out. A lot of people waste their time through TAPS. TAPS was very informational for me. I took vigorous notes. I went through all their websites, still utilizing their websites to this day, provide great resources. They hacked down my resume. You know, it was great for me because I loved it. So in TAPS, you're gonna do a budget. You're gonna find out about veterans benefits and all this stuff you need to be writing down because it's gonna go quick and it's gonna benefit you. Trust me, you don't wanna be the one falling asleep in these classes. They give you interview tactics. I mean, this is some free training that the Air Force don't have to do. They don't, they can just throw you out, okay? You wanna get out? See ya. But they do something good for us to where it's like transitional, like, you know that whole culture shock of now being referred to your first name, referred to as your first name instead of your last name, and your rank doesn't matter anymore. They go over all that. So it's important to make sure that you sign up for it well ahead of time because things are about to start moving. All right, so this is where I come into your disability claim, okay? Everyone knows that the VA, you know, they have their own clock of things. They got their own way of moving with stuff. So you want to be as prepared as you can. They tell you to file your VA claim, your disability claim, 90 to 180 days from your date of separation. Not 89 days, not 88 days. It has to be between 90 and 180 days. So what I suggest is 6 months before your DOS, start getting that stuff together. Start getting your medical records together. Start, you know, making notes, going through your records, because you can request a free copy of your records. They're gonna give it to you on a disc, all right? I was advised to print it out. I spent a good amount of money printing out my records, but at least I have my thick binder full of my records. I was able to highlight, you know, things, certain issues that's going on with you. These are things for you, about you, that you want to make sure that you get taken care of, all right? So your claim is pretty important. So don't let it sneak up on you. You know, if you have any leadership that's not allowing you to out-process, stress the severity of it. This is something that I wish I would have gotten taken care of ahead of time because then you're able to do something called the BDD, which is where they get your claim taken care of and you have all your appointments while you're still in the local area. If not, which is what happened to me, my stuff ended up getting processed I think the 89th day or the 86th day from my DOS. So that means that now I have to wait to do my claim until after my date of separation. Well, probably no big deal to most people, but by that time I won't be around here and I also won't be active duty. So it's a little frustrating at that point. Hopefully, prayerfully, we're still able to get it, you know, done quickly. It is based on you. Nobody is telling you. Just like, you know, when you first got in and you have these appointments, there's people mandating you to show up and be somewhere at a certain time. You know, in the briefings and, you know, and when you're going through basic, it's not like that when you're getting out. It is all up to you. It's based on your time management. If you want to wait to the very last minute to get your checklist done, that is totally on you. So it's good, but it's bad. And for me, the frustration with me was I knew where we were trying to go. I knew we were trying to move. I knew I had my husband. I knew we had our things. But I also knew your terminal leave. You know, some commanders approve all the leave that you have left. You are allowed to take that. You may be in a squadron where you're only allowed to take a certain amount of days. So I was only approved a certain amount of days and I kind of had to waste the other days. So that kind of left me in a position. My lease ends a certain day what should I extend my lease? Should we stay here until my very last day? What should we do? So we had to come up with a plan that fit our family. Now, our plan may not work for people with kids or people who don't like being separated. We kind of did this thing where, you know, we had TMO come pack us up. I took 2 weeks of leave. We went down to our new place, got our new place. My husband got a job, got down there. You know, I was down there on leave, got all our stuff settled, and then I came back and stayed with a friend for a month. That might not work for you, but it's like different strokes for different folks. You got to figure out how to do it that's going to fit in your schedule, and you got to do it well ahead of time because those timelines matter. I could still, you know, I still got to do my travel voucher. There's still certain things that I may not have figured out at this moment. I'm just telling you what worked for me. So within that window, there was a lot of moving parts. You know, I had to go to my VA claim. I had to get out process here, out process there. You know, certain places that don't matter for me, I would try to call and get them signed off right away. Cannot stress enough, your disability claim, especially if you know that you have things that you want to claim, that you need to claim, it's a very serious thing. I was in my appointment for 2 hours. You're gonna sit there with your medical records and you're gonna go through each thing with your VSO, I think it is, or your representative. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you do that well ahead of time in case that you have questions. If you have family members with experience, you know, they wanna give you advice and stuff. My mom was giving me lots of advice on everything, and so luckily I had that. But if you don't have that, this video is a good reference for you. To ensure that you are following all the proper steps within that 12-month to 6-month, 6-month to 3-month, 3-month to your DOS window, okay? All right, next thing. All right, so out processing, I mentioned out processing. Most squadrons or most, you know, units, you're gonna have your own checklist within them, and then you have like a base-wide checklist that you have to get taken care of. Like I was saying, stuff that you know you don't have, go ahead and get it signed off ahead of time, because then you don't have to worry about it as crunch time comes. Because a lot of them, you can't see them until your very last couple days because they don't wanna, you know, cut certain stuff off. They can't really take care of stuff until the very end when you're about to get out of there. But it's important not to let your stuff sit, okay? The good thing, I guess, about having a desk job was like I could kind of watch my stuff and be proactive and, you know, make phone calls in between doing work. But once I got my orders, that was another thing. You know, you applied and I was nervous because I couldn't schedule TMO until I had orders. And even though I'm a personnelist, it was looking like my orders weren't gonna come until after my lease ended. And so then I was thinking, how am I gonna get out of here? Am I gonna have to extend my lease for a month? That's gonna throw us off. Like, it was like hitting July and I was getting real nervous because I still didn't have orders. And I applied for separation back in like February or January. So, luckily I got my orders and it was go time from there. Everything, I was just kind of waiting. I was just kind of waiting on my orders and like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, go time. So I took my order straight to TMO, scheduled the TMO, had our place, you know, packed up, had boxes, knew what I was gonna take to a friend's house, knew what was gonna go down with me, knew, like, we had it all organized and planned, but I kid you not, it was so hectic and so crazy. I don't even know how we pulled it off. I don't even know how we pulled it off, because honestly, I knew that I was gonna go down to stay for 2 weeks. I knew that I was gonna come back up here to stay with a friend for a month. I knew that we needed stuff to be packed up. I knew that some stuff would be fragile, so I would wanna take some stuff with me. So I had to pack my car up with stuff for us to live in our place for a certain amount of days, because sometimes your stuff doesn't come right away. Luckily, our stuff didn't take that long to come, but it's like you have to be proactive. Nobody is gonna tell you all this. When you're in TAPS, when you're out processing, when you're in all these briefings, no one tells you this, because the only people that have separated before are not doing it right in that moment. Everybody that's separating with you is right there with you, so they have the same questions that you do, and all you have is certain resources, but you don't have stuff like new and true for you based on your situation. So you have to formulate. Okay, if you have children, if you have pets, I can't even imagine the move that we did. It was just crazy. It was so crazy. My husband went first and he took some stuff down, and then, you know, I went next, and then TMO followed, and then it was just crazy. But a lot of stuff, like I was saying, you cannot move without your orders, and you need those out processing checklists. You need to go to your local MPF and find out exactly what you need to do. Don't get too caught up in the specifics. Follow exactly what they give you, because that morning of your final out, you want everything to flow nicely. Mine isn't until tomorrow, so I hope everything flows nicely. You know, I've called and made sure, you know, I got this, everything's good to go. So your orders is important to have multiple copies of your orders. I say at least 10. You might even need more of that, because a lot of the places that you go, they need a copy of your orders to make stuff happen. All right, so TMO. So I was concerned because I knew I was separating. And when you're retiring, you get something called home of selection or home of record. So the military will fund your move either to your home of record or wherever you want to go. And that's only if you're retiring. If you're separating, unfortunately, you don't get those luxuries. They have to count, you know, the mileage or count the distance between your home of record and where you're trying to go, and, you know, configure the difference, and, you know, it's a whole lot more technical. So because I knew we were still staying in the state that we're in, I was kind of like, okay, this kind of puts me at ease, because at first I had got boxes like back in April, May, June, I was getting boxes from senior NCOs, and I was packing stuff up myself because we were prepared to get a U-Haul and move all of our stuff ourselves. We did not know that, fortunately, we were able to be moved by the military, and then we were just gonna have our difference. So that kind of threw us off, but it just so happened that happened for us. It may not happen for everyone. You may find it cheaper to do it yourself and file for a travel voucher and get whatever back that you can. So we had things sectioned off. My husband needed to take stuff down that he could live with, you know, a TV, an air mattress, and, you know, just the bare necessities, And then I had my stuff that I needed to take. You know, I needed to make sure I kept my uniforms here. It was very strategic. I'm telling you guys, TMO is gonna, they're a blessing, because they come in there and they pack everything up. If you got trash in your trash can, they might pack it up. And then they come to the new location and they drop everything off. And, you know, and then we were there unpacking everything, and, you know, so it was a whole lot going on. So really, all I really want to tell you guys is be proactive. Like I was telling you guys, we had a plan. We had a strategic plan, you know, that worked for our family. But for you, it might be something else. And, you know, it is, you know, setting reminders in your phone and putting stuff on sticky notes and not waiting till the last minute, having good time management, and, you know, asking those questions, because once you're out, you're out. I know for my eBenefits account, my MyPay, I was making sure I was making usernames and writing that down, getting all my documents off of my work computer, or or, you know, certain emails, you know, sending it to myself, or certain resources, making sure I printed anything that I had access to through my government account that I might need for a job later, for school later, that I utilize constantly. I was emailing it to myself over time just to make sure that I set myself up the best way, because I'm not PCSing. I'm leaving the Air Force, and you never know what you might need. You never know resources you might need. Maybe keeping a list of all the, you know, people that you knew at the base that you contacted frequently. You might need them when you leave. So the one thing that I can stress is be proactive, because I'm telling you, there were times when I felt like I was in it by myself. When you are separating from the Air Force, this is another thing I wanted to say. When you're separating from the Air Force, you're gonna meet a lot of people that are like, why? Why are you leaving? What is wrong? Do you know what you're leaving? What is your plan? That's what happens a lot. What is your plan? And you know, if you're not strong enough in the decision that you're making, maybe take a step back and decide, why am I really doing this? What do I really need to do to make sure that I'm solid in my decision? Because at every corner, you're gonna be tested. Senior NCOs are gonna ask you, why are you separating? And you better be able to answer that question. If you have a, you know, an answer like, I just don't like the military, or, you know, it's hard, and you don't have a plan, like, it's gonna be hard out there too. There's gonna be jobs that you don't like. So it's very important to know exactly why you're doing something, or even if you don't know, have a plan for the plan for the plan for the plan. And that's another thing that was super stressful, is having multiple plans, because I knew I want to get out, I want to go to grad school, you know, we want to move, and we just want to work our jobs and build ourselves up. But when you're separating from the military, that's a big deal. You're moving to a whole nother city. You're changing your whole entire lifestyle, where the military is close-knit, and we have our own grocery store, we have our own neighborhoods, we have our own security, like everything is within itself. And you're about to basically isolate yourself from all of that. So it's a question of, are you sure you want to do this? And if you are sure, make sure you sound confident, and you are confident in what you're doing, because they're going to ask you over and over and over again. I think, you know, the questions still haven't stopped, and I get out tomorrow. They're asking me constantly, why are you getting out? What's your plan? And then they tell their story about how when I joined, I only signed up for 4 years, or I only signed up for 6 years. I didn't anticipate being here this long. And now I'm a chief, and now I'm a senior, and now I could never see myself getting out. Or, you know, have you thought about cross training? Are you sure you want to do this? Is your money right? That's another thing. In TAPS, you go over a budget. And so that you know exactly what you're gonna do, where you're going, the cost of living, what type of job that you need, all of that. You have all these resources. You gotta utilize them, because I feel like this is a repeat. I kind of feel like I said this in another video. But anyway, because once you leave, I mean, it's not over. It's not over. You're a veteran. You're not completely dropped off into the abyss, but things are about to change drastically, and you want to be as prepared as you can be. So it's good to have lots of resources like YouTube videos, the VA website, e-benefits, you know, get all your stuff in line. You know you're gonna need medication for at least a year. Ladies, if you're on birth control, get your birth control together. All of these things you need to be doing when you know you're 12 months from your separation date. Now, don't let it sneak up on you. If you're at 12 months and you don't know yet if you want to separate, wait till go to those briefings so that you're informed. Wait till you're 10 months. Wait till you're 9 months. But also understand, as you're getting closer, you're kind of eating away time from getting things done. And remember that all while this was going on, I was taking 4 classes, trying to graduate from college. We had just got married, so I'm planning a wedding, because we're doing the wedding after the fact. And I was still doing my actual job. So life does not stop just because you're out processing, just because you're getting out of the military, just because you're making a change in life choice or a change in a career choice. Nothing stops. You still have to do all these moving parts, even with you getting out of the military, which is still a big deal. So leave your comments down below, leave your questions down below. I'm around to answer them. But yeah, if you're separating from the Air Force, this video will help you get information. and make it happen the correct way for you. So once again, I'm Camray and this is Camray Music TV. Like the video and share the video with all of your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, through messages. Any way you want to share the video, please share the video, subscribe down below to my channel, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Camray Music TV. And I'll see you guys next time.